today on The Closing Bell.
This week, the municipal bond market is expected to see the highest weekly issuance of volume for this year in 2011. About $5 billion in new tax-exempt issuance is expected, according to Thomson Reuters municipal market data. The pickup still, though, falls short of historic norms, but it is a promising sign, coupled with some indications that investor outflows are starting to reverse course. Earlier today on CNBC, noted analyst Meredith Whitney, known for her bold predictions about widespread municipal bond defaults, had this to say when she was asked about her forecast.
The focus of my research is on what this does to the broader economy. I never staked my research on being right on a precise number of municipal defaults, but that's the sad reality. There will be a large number of municipal defaults.
So is she right? And as an investor, what's the right call here? Joining me, John Miller, who's co-head of global fixed income with Nuveen Asset Management, and Marilyn Cohen, who's president of Envision Capital Management, and her book is called Surviving the Bond Bear Market, which tells me right there that you pretty much agree with Meredith on her call on munis, don't you, Marilyn?
Well, I do, in the sense that muni credit continues to deteriorate, and as Bernanke said, we're having a slow growth economy, which can only bode very poorly for the states, cities, and counties.
John, you're not as worried about the municipal bond market here in terms of defaults. Why not?
Well, a couple key things. First of all, we have seen 5 quarters in a row now of fairly sharp increases in overall state and local tax revenues, dating back to the beginning of 2010. It's mostly because of the stabilization of the economy and some economic expansion as well. Simultaneously, ever since 2008, which was actually the peak year of municipal bond defaults, those defaults are consistently moving lower since 2008, and the annualized pace this year is dropping to a low level of defaults for 2011. It looks like.
So, Marilyn, I guess if you're selective, you might do okay. Yes.
Absolutely, and the defaults that we have seen thus far in 2011 have been very small assessment bonds, small tax allocation bonds. There hasn't been anything that has been huge at all. So being selective is really the name of the game in buying munis, that you really can connect the dots and know how you're getting your coupon interest payment and being able to see the financials being posted and how the issuer is doing.
One more quote from Meredith. She was asked about the current state of municipalities and what they face right now as they issue new bonds. Here's what she had to say about that.
States are facing worse fiscal situations today than they were 6 months ago, than they were 12 months ago. Each iterative cut, each iterative imbalance in the state budget, you have to make deeper concessions.
What about that, John? I mean, you get a number of states that have huge deficits that they face, and now a slowdown again in the economy.
Well, actually, we have seen more and more states getting to a balanced budget for fiscal year 2012, which is the requirement for 49 out of the 50 states. The one example is California's situation, which shows that last year we were talking about a $25 to $26 billion deficit that the state would need to close. They've made some cuts. Revenues have come in about $9.5 billion higher than anticipated. So now they're trying to address about a $9 billion gap between now and a few weeks from now when their 2012 budget is due. So that's just one example. Not that the problem is fixed or solved by any stretch of the imagination, but higher revenues and spending cuts are improving the balance for the states, generally speaking.
Yeah. Marilyn, let me ask you then, let's make this meaningful for investors who are looking for the kind of tax-free income that you get from municipal bonds. In this bear market that you characterize, how do you invest? What do you look for a muni bond that's going to be a safe investment, relatively speaking?
In the bear market of credit, I would look for the best of the best, the pick of the litter. Names like Tennessee general obligation bonds, Georgia general obligation bonds, Maryland. I would stay with Texas permanent school fund bonds, all of those that are the best of breed, and I think people can rest easily then they'll get their timely principal and interest back.
But you will give up some yield by going by the safer, the most obviously safe muni bonds, right?
You give up a ton of yield, absolutely, but people that are buying munis on their own, they are looking for safety and security. That's why they left the muni bond fund space, because they were afraid that their safety net was imperiled.
John, what do you look for when you're investing? Is there a yield above which you wouldn't touch, even though you're constructive on munis right now?
Well, the municipal market is interesting in that it's highly diverse, and both with yield curve positioning, how far you're going out on the maturity spectrum. The yield curve is very steep, so there's a lot of additional income to be picked up by picking spots on the yield curve, say beyond 10 years of maturity, and also credit spreads are very wide. So, for example, the difference between a single A rated muni and a triple A rated muni right now, about 150, maybe 175 basis points, that's historically very wide. So there are a lot of opportunities to pick up yield, but you've got to be diversified and do bottoms-up credit research on the individual holdings.
All right. John Miller, Marilyn Cohen, good to see you both. Thank you for your thoughts today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.